FSPN. The number one name in fake news. We got the ticker up here. We got the clicker down here. We got it all going on. My name is Frankie from Flatbush. Thank you for joining us. If you like what we do here, which is a combination of Jets, commentary, and also media watching, it's a combo. If you like what we do, think we're unique, feel free to click the subscribe button down there. If that's a little too much for you, how about a thumbs up on the old milk thumbs now? It is high, it is far, it is December 26th, Friday, the year of our Lord 2025, and we got some news. We also got a docket. There's a docket. First item on the docket, Media Watch AG Friday presser. Aaron Glenn, head coach of your New York Jets, had a press conference on Friday and did not reveal any major news that I'm aware of. He did get 2 ramp-up trap questions. This is something I highlighted in a clip. Sometimes we clip out of these long shows and give you little clips and snips. Sometimes we don't. Just depends on how busy old Frankie is, which I'm very busy, by the way. But he got 2 ramp-up trap questions, one by Country Club Connor Hughes about the quarterbacks and evaluating quarterbacks. He navigated that question well, did not give any fodder. And you could tell also, the other thing you could tell with a ramp-up trap question usually means this is an article, this is a video, this is something that the reporter is working on. And this had to do with quarterback evaluations. So Country Club Connor probably preparing an article and probably has it already written, just waiting for the right quote. And so he asked the question to get the quote to fit into the article. The article would probably have a headline like, Jets have no idea how to evaluate quarterbacks, so it doesn't really matter which one falls to them in the draft because, it doesn't matter, something like that. It wouldn't be exactly like that, but, something like that. So then he got another one about rookie reps. Now, one thing that is different about this time around, we're in, by the way, in case you're confused, we're in year 0. This was year 0 of the rebuild. This had a twist, though, and that's why everybody got all hot and bothered. The twist was we took a flyer on Justin Fields to see if he could elevate the team beyond what you would expect in a year 0 rebuild. It was like a 10% chance of working. It didn't work. But that was the twist. Year 0, we're tearing it down. Not to the studs, not to the same level as 21. This roster has more talent on it than that. But it's a pretty big teardown. You knew that with the actions on trade day when, we got rid of Sauce and Quinnen. But it's year 0. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. And a lot of what the fates of old Muji and Glenn are going to be is what they pick with this quarterback situation going on here. But one advantage we have over our previous regime, if you remember, Saleh and Douglas were the decision makers. Saleh, defense, Douglas, former offensive lineman. Neither of them having much to do with quarterback play. Now, contrasted to now, head coach, no big difference in defense. But, and this is something nobody ever talks about, Darren Muji was a former college quarterback. Yes, he has experience at a major program. All right, San Diego State, fairly major-ish, as a quarterback. And he spent a couple of years as a quarterback there. And then he was so athletic, and they had other people ahead of him, that they said, hey, why don't you play wide receiver over here? And so he became a wide receiver, and he was so successful at that, he hung around in the NFL on a couple of practice squads for a few years. So he was in the NFL, practice squads, still counts, and he was a quarterback, high school quarterback and then college quarterback for a while, and then they moved him out to wide receiver. He's very tall, 6'6", Muji. So we have, in other words, we have someone who's the top evaluator here who played the position at a fairly high level. Okay, wasn't an NFL quarterback like a Kellen Moore or some of these people, Kevin O'Connell, but still Not bad, especially for the Jets. we're we're not going to get the top people like that, but 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 we'll get who we get. But so maybe a little bit of hope. That's what I'm saying. A little bit of hope. Little bit of hope as we're going into off season. Now, one final media note I did notice because it pops up in my feed. I don't look for these things, but it pops up in my YouTube feed. You notice how Badlands continues to suck up to the to the mainstream media. Must be part of their business plan, of course. But you see Dick Chimney, who's really an enemy of the people, and I keep explaining it 1,000 different ways. There's more stuff on the ticker about him. I mean, it's just so bad. But they will have him on for an hour-long conversation. Oh. But the alternative media is supposed to be sort of like the opposite of the mainstream media. You're not supposed to be buddy-buddy with them. But, they look at it like, hey, if we have Dick Chimney on here, there's a big part of the fan base who don't think like old Frankie, who will just say Dick Chimney's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and so's Zach Rosenblatt, and so's Country Club Connor Hughes, and all these people are wonderful because they're in the media, after all. They're on their television screens. And so get big ratings that way. You have old Will Parkinson's disease on there, and he can talk to Dick Chimney for an hour, and a lot of people are going to watch it. Why? I don't know. Because they haven't heard about old Frankie, which is why you should spread the word. Subscribe if you're not, and spread the word about old Frankie, because you know what I'll do? I'll listen to the podcast of, Chimney has his own podcast. Rosenblather has his own podcast. Sometimes Hughes and Rosenblather, they have a podcast together. They're all... and I'll listen to those and pick out the nuggets that you need. What's bullshit? What's important? What's tea leaves? Oh, Frankie will tell you that. So that way you don't have to pay attention to them. I'll pay attention to them. Tell you when they're bullshitting you. Tell you when it's total horseshit. Tell you when it's coming from the agent, which is 90% of their stuff. But also tell you, okay, this is what the tea leaves are saying, so it's tricky. But again, hey, everybody's got their own little business plan. I guess with Badlands, it's like, let's suck up to ESPN. Let's suck up to the Athletic. Maybe we could get a little tidbit of information. Oh, Dick Chimney, you are so powerful. You work for the worldwide leader. Please benefit us with some nuggets of information. Oh, we love you so much. This is what's going on at the other channels around here. Not with old Frankie. Not with FSPN, because we around here say, fuck ESPN, fuck Badlands, and fuck everybody and fuck everything. We're going to go far with that one. Well, Frankie, you wonder why no one likes old Frankie. Well... making yourself laugh is one of the life's greatest joys. Okay. Item number 2. Ding. Injuries. Now we do have some relatively late-breaking injury news. The Jets have placed defensive end Will McDonald on IR, finished with 8 sacks, and also Kiko Mauinoa and Jay Tufele. So those guys go to IR, not just inactive, which means we're going to call up a bunch of people onto the active roster at some point. And so those people are obviously out. And who else? Then we got Mason Taylor is out, but not on IR, but, he's out for this game. That means there's only one game left, so Mason Taylor probably should just go on IR too. Xavier Newman is questionable. Harrison Phillips, no injury designation, so he will play. Tyrod was out because of personal reason, but he will play. He'll be the backup. And then Eric Watts is recovered from his concussion, so that's good. So Watts is going to play. Braden McGregor is going to play. Now, there are some key things to watch for, some interesting stuff that you could see. Now, this is... These are the type of things that I'm going to say now that no one else will tell you. So if you enjoy these things, I think you should subscribe to the channel and think about joining the inner circle because nobody gives you the information that you're about to get other than FSPN and the Frankie channel. Now, who are we going to call up to take these people's places on the 53 man and potentially play on Sunday? Well, Kingsley Jonathan is a defensive lineman we have on the practice squad. He's almost certainly coming up. And then you have, and we may call up, for example, Jackson Sermon, Dom C favorite, Jackson Sermon. He may get a call up, or Nick Needham, we'll see. But the interesting name, the one nobody's going to tell you about, but Frankie, Pascal Ikeji. Who? What? What is that? Never even heard of him. Yeah. Well, Pascal Ikeji is a very interesting dude. We signed him from the International Pathway Program. Very few of those guys ever work out. In fact, there's only one success story. It's the tackle from the Eagles, Mailata. He's been very successful, but these other guys, especially the rugby guys who try to come over here, there's only been one. There's really not been too many success stories, though the NFL, you would think, is desperate to find these guys. It would be great marketing for them if they had more Mailatas, because they're trying. Obviously, the NFL is trying to expand. They want more international games. More international players in the league would then garner interest from those countries that they're from, et cetera, et cetera. But so we got one. His name is Pascal Ikeji. We actually have two, but Leander Weigand, who's from Germany, is on IR. And I'm sure that was more like, hey, Leander, you're injured, aren't you? No, I feel fine. Well, if you're not injured, you're going to get cut. Oh, I'm big time injured. I'm hurt. I got a hurt finger. Oh, yes. One of those things. So he's injured, and maybe he could be something, maybe not. He also went to UCF for a year, oddly. But anyway, we'll see if he can become anything next year, maybe. We'll see if he gets a futures contract. But right now we have this kid, Pascal Ikeji, and he's a defensive end. He has a body type of, think of a Jonathan Cooper on the Broncos, same body type that guy has. Now, can he do anything? Well, he did enough to sign on the practice squad, so that's good. I'll be very interested to see if they call him up. If they do, that's very exciting. Why? Because that means he will have earned it. They'll think maybe he's a maybe. And if that guy comes into the game and does anything, well, that could be very exciting because his ceiling is probably a third down pass rush specialist. Let's say he can do that. We don't know. We have no idea. It's a mystery box. But I'm just saying, theoretically, if he can come up and just rush the passer, and that's how I'd bring him in, I would say, listen, your job is get the passer. That's it. That's it. You have no other job. Don't worry about setting the edge. Don't worry about anything else. Just one job and see if he can put his hair on fire and do something. And if so, boy, that would be great. Imagine having a Bryce Huff type that you just pay basically nothing who can come in and just, third and long, here he comes. You remember his role when he was on the Jets. He would pressure the quarterback almost every time because he had that great get-off. And right now he has 4 sacks for old Robert Saleh. Remember that Country Club Connor Hughes told you that Bryce Huff was going to be so good in the Robert Saleh deep 4 sacks. But when he was on our team, he was good at generating pressure, and we paid him nothing because he was a UDFA, and that was beautiful. Not that he didn't get paid well, but it was beautiful because you get production at a low cost, which enables you then to spend money elsewhere that you otherwise would need to on a player who can pressure the quarterback and get sacks, which gets you paid. As we saw, Bryce Huff got $17 million total overpay by the Eagles. Didn't matter to them. They won the Super Bowl anyway, but still blew the market out of the water. And, hey, but you do what you got to do to win the Super Bowl, right? So, but that would be probably the absolute ceiling for this guy. But that's a name to watch. It would be very interesting if tomorrow, Saturday, or tonight, if they signed him to the 53 man, that would be pretty cool because that means they're really high on him as opposed to just elevating him tomorrow on Saturday, which they could also do. Fedorma Mulba is a name that might get signed or elevated. He's a defensive lineman. Trey Brown might get signed. He's been elevated 3 times. So, and there's a couple other guys. Sam Womack we have that might get the call up. I doubt it'll be an offensive lineman. So there is a wide receiver that we still have. There's a couple. I mean, Jamal Pritchett, Quentin Skinner, and Trenton Irwin. Irwin is the one who has the most experience. He used to be with the Bengals. Be interesting to see if he got a call up. But at this point in time, the wide receivers are more for special teams than anything else. Perhaps, no, probably not him. But that's a name to keep in mind, Pascal Ikeji, because it could be a diamond in the rough, or it could be just like almost all of the rugby guys and all of the international signees, absolutely nothing. Now, on to the third point. Ding, NFL Roundup, late breaking news. Max Crosby, he's upset. The Raiders wanted to hold him out. This is the time of the season when teams hold everybody out and they say they're not tanking, and technically they're not, but they do it with injuries. They just say, you're on IR, you're injured, you're everybody injured. It's the battle of the injury-plagued teams. But the Raiders wanted to hold Max Crosby out of the game, and he got upset. He said, no, I want to play, even though he has a lingering knee injury or something. He said, no, I want to play. What are you talking about? And he stormed out of the facility, apparently. So that's something to watch for a couple of reasons. We need the Raiders to beat the Giants this weekend. We need the Raiders desperately to get, hopefully, a third and fourth win. And, of course, Carroll is coaching for his job, it seems like. That's a whole murky situation over there. But then again, if Max Crosby is super upset about all this and they're wasting his career, that's another thing you should be upset about. This is a great player who just been on stinky teams his whole life. So if he doesn't, iron it out with them, they may trade him in the offseason. Doesn't really affect us too much. He's not coming here, but it's something to watch. Interesting. Michigan hired Kyle Whittingham. So that's just something at the college level that was somewhat of a surprise. Some of the Michigan people, the big-time fans, are happy. Some are not. Seems like a caretaker situation to me. The man's 66 years old, has a sterling reputation, and, of course, Michigan has had a little bit of problems recently and over the last decade. So they get a squeaky clean guy to come in there, maybe as a bridge head coach. We'll see how that works out. And how it affects how many kids want to come into the NFL. Maybe more of them want to declare for the draft, or maybe they don't. We'll have to see. Now, something that does have a direct impact on us, it's been reported that Jordan Love is out for the next Packers game, which means that Malik Willis is in. Why does that matter to us, Frankie? Well, Malik Willis might be a New York Jet next year. Malik Willis makes a lot of sense for the New York Jets because we can give him a situation very few guys can get. Now, Willis is a free agent at the end of the year. The Packers reportedly would like to keep him, but of course he's going to look for starting opportunities. He's not going to get that with the Packers. We can give him that. We can say, listen, you're going to compete. Now, free agency comes before the draft. You can say to him, look, we're looking into the quarterbacks in the draft, of course, but what we promise you is we will have an honest competition, and we can give him an honest competition because whether we get one in the draft or not, you can always sit that guy for a year or for however many games and see how it works out with Willis. And if Malik Willis kills it and you're like, wow, we love this guy, he's perfect. Don't forget, he's only 26, 27 years old, and he has first-round talent, and the only reason he slipped in the draft was because he was developmental, and now he's been developed by the Packers, who are a team that's known for how they develop quarterbacks. So he comes into the market at a good situation for him now, and in the small sample size that he's gotten on the field in Green Bay, he's looked really good. But problem, small sample size. So here's another sample coming up in the next game on Saturday. So we should watch that game with great interest. If he plays well, if he doesn't play well, just keep an eye on him. Take a look at him and say, is this the kind of guy we want to be the next Jet quarterback? Because it very well might be. because it's a good situation for him. We can give him a good amount of money and an opportunity to shine, and give him a good fair contract for him. That's a lot of money, and a good fair contract for us. Maybe it has outs in it, and incentive clauses and things of that nature. So we can really make it work with Malik Willis if we decide to go that way, and that would be a way to kind of not show our hand in terms of the draft, and also depends where we end up picking. If we're first in the draft, then we don't have to worry about it too much in terms of wondering if we can get our guy in the draft if we want to do that. But we're probably not getting the first pick, and so there's a lot of variables, and a lot of those variables will be settled in January in terms of who comes out, where the draft, the draft positioning and so forth. But in any scenario you think of, it would be good to have a Malik Willis and another lesser veteran behind him in place. That way we're not desperate. If it doesn't work out our way to get the quarterback we want, all right, we go with Willis and the other veteran, and we take a flyer late in the draft on somebody, or just stick with Brady Cook as QB3. And if Willis doesn't work out, well, then we go in 27 and get our guy. But when we have 3 first-round picks, this is assuming we don't make a trade, when we have 3 first-round picks and there'll be, probably more people to pick from, including a guy, by the way, Lenora Sellers. He's going back to college, and as well he should. Now, I thought he should have transferred. Probably he's staying at South Carolina. I cannot believe that Shane Beamer kept that job. But now, Shane Beamer, the head coach of South Carolina, he better develop the hell out of Lenora Sellers. I got to tell you something. Now, Nick Harbor, his big wide receiver, very talented young man, also going back. So, and they also kept their pass rusher, their young pass rusher. But they better have a plan for how to develop Lenora Sellers. Otherwise, they're not going to get quarterbacks to come there. I mean, the thing about Lenora Sellers, he's the most talented motherfucker out there. This draft, next draft, almost any draft, Lenora Sellers has the most talent out of anybody. You watch him and your eyeballs pop out of your head watching him. He's so good with the traits. The problem, he's not good at playing quarterback right now, consistently high level. That's why he's going back. But if he can put that together, he's 1-1. Absolutely, for sure. And that would be a guy, if the Jets got that guy. And he was, and he showed that he knew how to play the position at a high level, reading the defenses, getting the ball out quick, all that. He's another one of these holds the ball too long guys. We've had enough of those guys. But that's why I'm saying Beamer needs to develop that guy. And again, I don't know how he kept that job, but still, nonetheless, needs to develop Mr. Sellers. And then you have Arch Manning, and then you have a bunch of other dudes. So, if you think about it, it sounds like a good plan, and this is the type of thing Muji would do, I think, based on all the moves he's made since he got his staff together at the end of summertime, is sign Willis, give him a chance to say you're going to compete, and we're taking a rookie, and we're not averse to, even if we take him first overall or wherever we're picking, we're not averse to sitting his ass for a year to give you a chance, Malik. And that would be appealing to Malik Willis. And then you say, and look at our offensive line, and we got Garrett Wilson. If we sign Breece Hall, we got a great running back situation. Depending on what we do with, let's say we sign AVT, we've got a great starting situation. And let's say we spend a ton of money on Linderbaum or something. Oh, boy. Now, it would be an overpay for Linderbaum. We have to overpay. There's no doubt about it. And everybody would laugh at us for how much it costs to buy a center. Linderbaum, we'd have to give him 22, 23 to come here. Probably. And everybody would say, that's way too much money for a center. And it's like, yeah, but we needed a center. And now look at our offensive line. And where else are we going to put this money? We had $100 million. We probably can't even spend it all, to be honest with you. So don't listen to anybody telling you we have cap problems. We do not. We probably can't even spend all the money we have. So if you can acquire a Linderbaum at whatever cost, why not? And that's probably what his agent is saying. Hey, I can get you $100 million. Let's say it's a 5-year, $100 million, or 4 years, $100 million, something like that, something crazy. 4 years, $90 million. I can get you a lot of money. And the Ravens are like, wait, he's not worth that. No center's worth that. And the agent's probably like, yeah, but the Jets are probably going to be desperate. And there might be other desperate teams out there. But you can say to Willis, look, we got the line. We got Garrett Wilson. We got Adonai Mitchell. We got John Metchie. We got Isaiah Williams. That's a decent starter pack. We're also going to add another wide receiver in the first 4 picks. There's no doubt about it that one of those first 4 picks, if we don't make a trade, is going to be wide receiver. So we might have Carnell Tate. We might have Mekhi Lemon. We might have Denzel Boston. Also, now how does that room look? Pretty good. We got Mason Taylor. We got Jeremy Ruckert. We'll probably draft a tight end too. And, so that's pretty decent. What more do you need? You got an opportunity. You got a line. You got wide receivers. You got a running game. That's a pretty appealing situation for one Malik Willis in that situation that he's in. And then that way we're protected. We got options. We don't have to have the quarterback, and so people can't hold us up in the draft trying to get 17 first-round picks. It's like, well, if we get one, we get one. Otherwise, we got Willis. We're good. We don't care. That's probably the plan. You heard it here first. FSPN telling you the plans before we go forward. And if you think that this kind of analysis is worthwhile, it's different, it's differentiated, go ahead and subscribe. Think about joining the inner circle, the inner square, the inner triangle. We got them all. And so we'll just look at our feeds here for any late breaking news. And it does not appear. It looks like it's finalized. Whittingham, 5-year deal to become Michigan's next head coach. So they gave him a $5. Probably be out of there in 3, if I had to guess. Jordan Love out. And there you go. So it doesn't seem like any other late breaking news. So on the season, so on the day. So we'll see who gets signed to the 53-man. That'll be interesting to talk about on Sunday's show. Sunday, 10 a.m., Coffee with Frankie live. We'll do it live on Sunday at 10 a.m., and I will see you next time.